Welcome. This is a run-through of a presentation that is going to be made for NEOPC July the 8th. The subject is Windows 10. My name is Bruce Brockman, and a lot of this is my opinion, although I've done a fair amount of research on the internet to get ready for this. So there are a lot of questions, and probably more questions than answers at the moment, but we're going to do the best we can. So who should update to Windows 10? And that's a good question. It depends on the equipment that you have. It depends on what you plan to do with the internet and how long you plan to keep the equipment that you have. And we'll get into those things a little bit later. What do you get when you upgrade to Windows 10? And it is basically the Windows 8.1 with a lot of modifications, and a lot of them aren't done yet. They will be coming forth shortly. Basically at this point you can't even play a DVD with Windows 10. But certainly there are ways to get around that. If you use a lot of different Windows devices, from phones to phablets to tablets to PCs, you have no choice. Windows 10 is the right thing to do, and there are also a lot of other neat things for those that just have PCs. Is your equipment compatible? And that is going to be a big question. There certainly is going to be a list of things that they consider necessary to run Windows 10, but we've found some anomalies in that anyhow. How do you do it? And we're going to give you some links to where you can get yourself set up so that you can get Windows 10 if you so desire. Where that is going to be through Microsoft sites, and again, we have links for you in this presentation. Why would you want to? Well, because it is going to be the last, supposedly the last operating system that Microsoft publishes. They're just going to be tweaks to this constantly and upgrades to it constantly. And if you want the latest, greatest, you're going to want Windows 10. When? It's available July 29th or close to that anyhow. And my recommendation is to wait to do it, because there are going to be some bugs. And rather than work through patches and fixes and whatever, I would say sometime late fall would be a good time. If you don't do it within a year, and you are eligible for a free upgrade, and that's Windows 7 and Windows 8 and 8.1 mostly, then there's going to be cost involved. If not, it's free. So we're going to explore all of this a little bit more as we go through this presentation. This is what your desktop is going to look like with Windows 10. So it's a combination of 8.1, all of these tiles and things, and 7, which you have a start menu, and they've added some other goodies to it. Really quite a nice interface. Ready or not, July 29th, that's the date. Maybe. Because yesterday, as I was looking for some things, and yesterday would have been July 7th, we found this be available in August. So maybe they're just saying that not everybody can have it in July because there's not that many days left. I don't know. There's a lot of work still going on Windows 10, so it may be that the earliest might be in August, and all the ones that are set up to get it automatically through Get 10 app probably won't get it until August anyhow. The official introduction of Windows 10, the last operating system that Microsoft will ever build, so they say. They say that they're going to continue to add things and improve things and make this platform better in perpetuity. So they say today, and I believe that they believe it anyhow. Things change, though. The world of computers is forever changing, so we'll see. But that is certainly their intent as of the writing of this presentation. So we're going to add a maybe to it. System requirements for 10. If you are running Windows 8.1, you will be able to update to Windows 10 probably. And I've already found some things that may contradict that, so I don't know for sure. But we will see. In preparing for this, I worked with 3 computers. One was very old. One was fairly old, about 5 years, although it was top of the line at that point, and one that is less than 2 years old. And after looking at that, I can basically say that none of them actually qualify for Windows 10. Although the old one, and here is the published what it takes to run Windows 10. Latest version of 7 with Service Pack 1, 8.1 with Update 2, and this is to get the free update. A 1 gigahertz processor, which you'd have to be pretty old not to have that. But it has to support, and we're not going to get into any of this technical stuff, it has to support all of those things. A gig of RAM for 32-bit or 2 gigs of RAM for 64-bit, 16 gigs for 32-bit and 20 gigs for 64-bit, and it'll take that. And as things progress, you're going to need probably a lot more than that as they add and update and whatever. DirectX or the Windows driver, most everything you're going to have is going to do that. Some of the games and whatever, DirectX 10, your hardware probably will be capable of that display at 1024 by 600. Almost everyone has that, although I got a message that in order to use Snap you're going to need bigger than that. A tablet that supports touch, which makes it nicer, but you can live without it. Internet access, yes. A Microsoft account, yes. Cortana support. It is supported in the United States and some other countries currently. That really is a neat feature. It requires a microphone, obviously. Windows Hello, that's coming. They really are not ready to do that full bore yet. The infrared cameras, Intel's still working on. Fingerprint, okay, that's been around for a while. But really what you're looking for is this infrared camera, much more secure than the fingerprint, much more easier to use anyhow than the fingerprint was. Continuum, we're going to get into that later, and that's really a cool feature. Bottom one is the issue that I see anyhow, secure boot. Most everyone thinks that their computer has a BIOS in it, and BIOS has changed to UEFI. I won't even bother to get into that either, but it's pretty well known that if your computer does not support UEFI version 2.3.1 or better, you're not going to be running Windows 10. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, which replaces BIOS. Secure Boot is something that only lets computers and tablets and phones put anything into the boot procedure, into the operating system that is approved, in this case by Microsoft. So, this is the old computer that we put this on. Very specifically, that particular processor was not supposed to be able to handle Windows 10. And lo and behold, it says it's running Windows 10. Okay? It was not very functional, and that's why I'm not doing a presentation on that particular computer. Ran a Bellark Advisor on it, and it said that the BIOS, it was running a boot mode of BIOS, and Secure Boot was not supported by this processor, which is true, and there was no BIOS upgrade for it, so theoretically you shouldn't be able to run Windows 10 on that particular unit, although it did load Windows 10. Ran poorly, but it loaded it. So, next I went to a older computer, but one that had good hardware in it, and it ran the upgraded Visor on it, and got this report, and it said you're going to need to install an app to play DVDs. It said Secure Boot isn't compatible with your PC. More information, and that's going to tell you to update your BIOS so that you can run Secure Boot. And turns out that that computer is running an Intel PD35PD motherboard, and Intel has chosen not to have any firmware updates for that. So no, it really probably won't run on there. They want a better screen resolution for Snap apps, where you're running a couple different programs on the desktop so you can snap them to the sides. That computer would do that, but also its network connections, the Intel version was not up to date. It could probably do that, but you may have to replace the card there. ActiveSync, which is a Microsoft program that could be updated. And there is the real kicker, the Intel Management Engine interface is not compatible, and there is no way to update that, so theoretically this machine would never run Windows 10. That came from the Upgrade Assistant, and there's a link to that. As with all my presentations, I'm going to give you a PDF. You're going to have access to it anyhow on our website at the forum. And there's a link to this assistant, and it depends on what version of Windows you're running, which assistant you click on here to download, and then you're going to want to see whether your equipment is capable of running Windows 8.1. Not 8, but 8.1. And hopefully if you pass that, you should be able to upgrade to Windows 10. But this particular one said the BIOS mode would not, and again this is the slightly older one, would not support, and there is no upgrade from Intel for the BIOS. So that one's out. This is the newer computer, and theoretically it should be able to run it. It has UEFI, but it's running legacy BIOS, and there is no upgrade for the BIOS, and it will not run Secure Boot, so theoretically it cannot run Windows 10. But Windows says this PC meets the requirements, so it on July 2nd, Windows looked at that particular machine and said it will run Windows 10. So maybe it will, maybe it won't, don't know. Tom's Hardware, if you aren't familiar with that, highly respected site for answering questions about darn near anything to do with phones, tablets, or computers. And there it says, Windows 10 will not run in computers without UEFI 2.3.1 and Secure Boot enabled. That says that there's a solution for it. The solution is to update your BIOS or UEFI. But if there is no update for it, lo and behold, you aren't going to be able to run Windows 10. I think. There certainly is a lot of conversation about it, and nobody seems to really have the answer on it. Is it really free? You think about Microsoft over the years has made a few dollars selling operating systems, and all of a sudden they're going to give it away. Wow. Glad I don't have any stock, maybe. So how are they really going to make some money? And they're going to have an app store. I wonder where they thought that up. Apple. And in-app purchases. So all those people playing Candy Crush, and they buy whatever it is they buy to keep playing that. Microsoft's going to get a cut of that. They're going to have a digital music and video store. Well, wow, I wonder where they got that idea. And OneDrive storage, they're going to sell you storage space. They give you some free, and then once you're hooked and you start using this thing a lot, you're going to be paying them for it. Not a lot, but every little bit helps. Xbox music streaming. Again, there are other people out there doing that sort of thing, and you don't have to have an Xbox to do it, but for a monthly fee you can stream all the music that you want to hear. They're still going to charge you to use Microsoft Office 365 subscription, and Skype, you're going to pay a little bit to use that also. All right, well, this is a very interesting article with one nerd's saga of trying to load Windows 10, build 10.130, which is a fairly current thing. It was out in June. He had up-to-date hardware running a Core i7, 8 gigs of RAM, and it was all current stuff. It just turned out there was a combination of the particular hardware that he had that just made it a nightmare for him. And this goes on for pages. And I think that probably the executives at Microsoft should take out a restraining order against this guy, because he was really hot by the time he was done with this. I honestly believe that most of our club members are going to have absolutely no problems updating to 10 if they so choose to do. Sure as heck now everybody's going to have a problem that I've said that, but I think really the vast majority of people are not going to have serious issues with upgrading to 10. Although it's still my belief that you should probably wait a month or two to do that. Let them work out a couple more of the bugs. So we've talked about some things that were not so positive, and there's some things that are very positive about Windows 10. First of all, they brought back the Start menu, and hundreds of thousands of people are cheering because they did that. It looks much more familiar too, although they have still included the little tiles. They've integrated both, and it's fairly easy to use, and they've updated the little tiles, the Metro apps. I got myself a Windows phone, and I use some of these things now, and I'm thrilled to death with them. I think they're great. The Action Center notifications area is much better, and words and things from Microsoft and about your computer and what's going on with Windows and so on and so forth. they've done a great job in putting that together to bring your attention to these things. Cortana, again, I use this on my Windows phone, and it is a great thing, and it's going to get nothing but better because the program learns as it goes along, and it is very useful. Project Spartan, their new web browser, Edge, it has new features. They're going to have a lot more new features and be very useful. I've never been a big supporter of Internet Explorer, so I played with Edge a little bit, and I think it's great. And I'm still using Firefox and Chrome, be that as it may. Their mail and calendar apps look better, are more friendly, easier to use. They look the same across all the platforms. Very nice. Virtual desktops, again, borrowed from one of the other companies. You can have a lot of things open at the same time and on a desktop, on a virtual desktop though, so you can have several desktops at one time. Xbox apps have been improved for those that use Xbox. Again, I can't speak to that very much because I don't use it. So, Continuum talks to being able to have the same look across all the various platforms, whether it be a phone, a phablet, a tablet, or a PC. A very good thing. And your settings configuration is new and certainly much more user-friendly. So, those are some of the things in Windows 10 that everybody is going to like a lot. And now, I'm going to let a professional, and certainly one of Microsoft's executive vice presidents, Joe Bellafiore, gave a speech at Ignite, which is a conference held in Chicago, and that is where developers for software primarily go. And he talked about Windows 10, and it's the best I found on YouTube to give you a real positive look at what they're going to do with Windows 10. So, let's play it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corporate Vice President Joe Bellafiore.
Good morning! Hello everybody. It's a real pleasure for me to be here at Ignite. Of course, I'm going to talk about Windows 10, and as Satya said, one of the areas that I'm going to focus on is more personal computing. Now, I know many of you are familiar with Windows 10, and you know that Windows 10 has work in all three of these areas. It's going to support the intelligent cloud. It's going to help all of you to reinvent productivity within your businesses. But we are kind of focused on more personal computing. And today, I'm actually bringing with me a mission here to Chicago. It's a mission that I am on personally and that I'm going to try to enlist all of you into as well. My mission is to convince you and to give you the tools to go back to your companies with the belief that your end users are going to love and desire Windows 10. Windows 10 is a product that we are focused on pulling together in a way that will work great for people at home, but also work great for people in business. And I'm going to focus on the end user part of that message, and later on you'll hear Brad Anderson talk about the IT management part of that. Now,
Okay, that was a minute and a half of a 33-minute video. Certainly has some interesting things about Windows 10 in it. And if you'd like to see the entire video, you can go to the URL that's listed here at YouTube. Or you can, if you're a member of the club, go to the NEOPC forum, and all of the links from this presentation are in a PDF called Windows 10 Links, and there is an active link for this particular video. Alright, so the last thing that Joe talked about was security using a camera. And the camera is still really under development by Intel. It's called RealSense. It's 3D and infrared and does a lot of neat things, and will make security a lot better and easier, no doubt. But it is still in development. The closest right now, Creative Labs has a 3D camera that would work with Microsoft's Hello, and that's coming. Okay, another link for you is this particular page, and it answers virtually all the questions that you might have about moving to Windows 10. There are a lot of sections here, and again, the link is on the PDF that is on our forum, and again, you can go to any one of these questions, and there's a lot more information about each one of these things. How do I get Windows 10 app, which turns out to be a little Windows icon down in your system tray, right there. And from there you can, by opening that up, find out whether your computer is supposedly compatible with Windows 10 or not. And again, virtually can answer all the questions that you might have about upgrading to Windows 10 that I haven't covered. So, the big question that is causing a lot of conversation is that you won't be able to disable or delay updates for Windows 10 Home. And there are a couple of versions there are 5 versions of 10. Only 2 that you're interested in. One is Home and the other one is Professional Pro. 99% of you will be getting the Home version. It'll cost you $99 to go up to the Professional version. And what that will do is delays updates by up to 4 weeks, is what's written now anyhow. And the reason is that there have been some serious updates that have caused nothing but problems. Getting an update as soon as it comes out can be devastating, to say the least. And there are a lot of people who just don't want updates going into their computer when they don't know what they are. This basically means that Microsoft is capable of uploading to your computer any program that it wants, to keep an eye on you, to whatever. There's privacy issues, there's all kinds of things that people are worried about with this feature. Certainly something that I'm thinking about. Next, of course, there is somebody that found a way around it already. Disable automatic updates in Windows 10. You have to get in and edit the group policy editor, which would make certainly our club members, uncomfortable to do. This is basically what you call a hack, although you're just getting into the nuts and bolts and guts of Windows 10. Not recommending it, whatever, it's just something that you can be sure when somebody says you can't do it, somebody will find a way to do it. Linux. We had some conversation about Linux some time ago. There are a lot of people that are considering using Linux now because of some of the issues with they perceive Windows 10. And then Secure Boot may indeed be the death knell for Linux, and there's legal things going on in that direction now. So Linux has always been an option. We've talked about it. It's a great operating system. It certainly can't do all that Windows 10 can do. But for some of the older machines at this point, that does make an awful lot of sense if you want to keep the machine. And you can go to our forum, our members can anyhow, and review the presentation that was made on Linux, and it will tell you how to get involved in Linux if you think that that's what you want to do with your older machine that won't run Windows 10. This is the first page of those links. This is a list of all of the links, and they're all active links, and if you go to the forum, you'll be able to find this particular PDF and the active links to look at some of the things that I talked about in this presentation. So thanks for your attention. Here's to Windows 10.